a while. Let's maybe finish this game tonight. I don't know. Where are we? Over here. Just me and Fi Alive, right? Pontre.
Sigma, there's something I want to ask you. There are three
What is
doors
it?
here. You, Alice, and Luna went through the one on the right. That took you to the Golem Bay, correct?
Yeah. According to the map, that's the door in the bottom. There's a lever on that thing in the middle, right? We pulled it, but it only opened one of the doors. What about
Take
it?
a look. See the lock? Yeah,
Open. Then
there's
the
only
heck
one
opened it,
person
and
who
how?
could have opened it.
Luna.
Alright, let's head in.
Okay. Why did we not finish the right hand side? No, we had to find the bomb 0. Is that what it is? Or bomb 2? The bomb 0? Yeah, that's where we're at. Okay.
I
What the heck are
think
these
they're
things?
treatment pods of some sort.
Weapon pods? Even as a spoke part of me knew what they were. Didn't know how or why, but I felt a strong sense of deja vu when I looked at them. Suddenly I realized I knew exactly how to operate the pods. It was a strange, unsettling feeling, as if somewhere deep within my was a version of myself that I didn't actually know.
One of them is lit up.
One of the left
Glass
is
is
it
all
being
fogged
used?
up. I can't really see inside. Yeah,
Let's crack it open then. Quark. What are you running to? Our feet pounded across the floor of the warehouse.
this is it.
Pound, pound, pound. Quark's body bounced in my arms as I ran. If his pulse and breathing were normal, he was limp and unconscious, but he was alive. The pawn display had given us little information on his condition. As far as we could tell, he'd been given anesthetic, put him to sleep.
Ready? What's wrong? You're supposed to say, yeah, sure.
Is it okay for us to just leave?
What the hell is this? You want to stay here? What if Luna kills you too? Think about it.
What?
Alice, Clover, Tenmyoji, the old woman, even Dio and Kay. There's a good chance Luna killed all of them. Why doesn't
But
matter.
why?
Remember what we saw on Clover's thigh?
016.
And what's that the same number as?
The last 3 digits of Luna's product ID.
Where did we find the old woman's corpse?
In the AB room that Luna came out of.
And if you're right, her brain is in the central computer core. That means she could have easily moved that crane, right? She could have used it anytime she wanted.
That means an alibi she may have for not being able to move the crane is
Exactly.
worthless.
She must have moved the AB room. Alice noticed it right away. At the very least, that would mean Luna had a reason to try and kill Alice.
Keep her quiet.
She could also have murdered Dio and Kay. Remember their star keys? Luna must have taken them. which puts her in the room with Dio and Kay. You understand, don't you? I admit none of this evidence is conclusive, but look at our options. You, me, Quark, and Luna. Who do you think is the most likely to be the murderer? Think this through, Sigma. Luna's a golem. That means she's a robot that's part of this facility, designed to do God knows what. If what you said about golems and the central computer is true, she's basically a puppet of Zero Junior's. There isn't really much of an argument to be made here. The only option is to leave her here and get out.
Have you ever heard of the 3 laws of robotics?
A robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to
A
harm.
robot without the 3 laws is just a bunch of metal and plastic.
Okay, you're right.
Damn.
Let's get out of
Don't
here.
scare me like that. Okay, I'm going to open it. You ready?
You don't have to ask me. Isn't that
Yeah,
what
I
you always
guess
say?
so. It's time we got out of here. Let's go.
Da-dunk, 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 yeah. With a heavy, labored groan, the number 9 door began to open. As soon as the gap was wide enough to admit her body, Phi slipped through it. Followed her through, Quark still cradled in my arms. Inside was a massive lift platform like the kind used to move industrial cargo. Phi turned to face me. I shoved Quark into her arms.
Huh?
Before she could respond, I spun around and ran.
The number 9 door has been opened. It will remain open for 9 seconds.
Sigma! What the hell are you thinking? Get back here!
Sorry, Phi. Just something I have to do.
No,
Care
you
Quark.
don't mean you're going to go find Luna? God damn it, Sigma! Think about what you're doing! Sigma! Listen to me! You can't do this!
And then we solidify Quark's death, because there's no longer an antidote to take. Later, Skater. Or maybe he overpowers
The number
Phi
9
and also
door
murders her.
has closed. This ends the nonary game. Thank you for your participation. As the game is over, all doors other than the number 9 door have been unlocked. Escape is not possible. Please enjoy your stay.
I had no regrets. In fact, with Phi and Quark's successful escape, I felt a profound sense of relief. One of my objectives had been achieved, and a difficult choice had been made. Mine felt clear and focused, more so than it had in a long time. Alright, time to go. Luna's waiting. Luna,
You knew?
I knew you'd be here. Oh, right. We hadn't talked here in this one, have we?
Isn't this nice? This is the only place in this whole facility with anything green. I kind of feel silly saying it, but it makes me think of the great outdoors. I think it's the perfect place for a serious conversation. Being surrounded by nature makes me feel happy. I'm not sure what you meant just now, but are you talking about something that happened in another history? I know what you can do.
What?
Someone told me about it once. They said that you have the ability to transport your consciousness through time.
Who told you that? Luna looked down at the music box around her neck, carefully and delicately twisted the dial on the bottom.
Sigma, aren't you here to ask me something? Why I killed them, perhaps?
Well, actually, I already know
Why
you
do you
didn't
think
do
I
it.
didn't do it? I'd like to know your reasoning.
Alright. Nodded and took a moment to compose my thoughts. Might as well start with the old woman. There's no point beating around the bush, I suppose.
Why do you
Dio
think
killed
so?
her. Her left arm had blood splattered all the way up to the elbow, except for a stripe on the wrist that was perfectly clean. What could have caused that? My guess is a bracelet. Covered him with blood and kept your wrist clean. Obviously, none of our bracelets have blood and splatter on them, but Dio's bracelet reacted to the luminol. That meant Dio's bracelet had to have come from the old woman.
Is that your proof? That's why you think Dio killed her?
No, that's only enough to suspect them. After all, he could have just taken the bracelet after
Then
someone else
why are
killed
you
her.
so sure? What?
Because he confessed. After his bracelet reached the luminol, I confronted him.
All right, fine. You caught me. I did it. I killed the old bitch and took her bracelet.
Wait, when did that happen? Isn't
In a
that
different timeline.
against the rules?
What rules? I'm not going to try and bring up Nox's 10 Commandments. Does it really matter if it's against the rules of fair or fair? Truth is the truth. Let's say the incident P happens, and after that the timeline splits into timeline A and timeline B. I don't think it's unfair to base the theory in timeline A or information I found in timeline B. After all, A and B both came from the same place, P. If you trace the history of both the timelines, you'd end up back at incident P. Now, if I could change what happened with incident B by visiting timeline A or B, I guess it's a different story. I don't know that it'd be unfair per se, but I'd certainly be breaking some pretty big rules. Like, you know, the principles of causality. I'm sure that Dio killed the old woman. By extension, that means you couldn't have killed her. I'm assuming Dio wasn't originally intended to be a part of the nonary game. Somehow he got in and took the old woman's place. That's how he ended up in Quark's partner. This isn't just an educated guess, but I have a feeling his plan was to replace one of us. I doubt it mattered which one. I have no idea why he would want something like that, and I don't know how he did it either. But the fact remains that he did. He hid in the warehouse on floor A and waited for someone to come out of the run of the AB rooms. That someone turned out to be the old woman. Left Quark asleep in the AB room and came out on her own. Somehow he managed to get close enough to stab her. He did it near the wall with the graffiti on it. I'm guessing he stabbed her from behind so that he wouldn't get any blood himself. As soon as she was dead, he wrapped the knife up in the handkerchief. No, wait, actually. He probably took the bracelet first. Then he would have needed to wipe the blood off, so he used the handkerchief for that too. Anyway, the point is that he got the bracelet and put it on. Then he wrapped the knife up and hid it between the rightmost AB room and his neighbor. Probably didn't expect that they'd move, or he would have put it somewhere else. After that, he headed back into the AB room that the woman had left. Quark would have still been fast asleep, so as far as he knew, Dio was there the entire time. This does raise a few other questions, but I'll save those for later. For now, let's move on to the other murders. Well, actually, one of them probably isn't a murder. Talking about Alice, I'm pretty sure she committed suicide.
All of humanity is going to die. Adults, children, everyone. Everyone! There won't be anyone left! I'd rather die here!
She'd been infected with Radical 6. I think that infection caused her to take her own life. She used Dio's knife, which she found in the warehouse after the AB removed and exposed it. She took it with her, and then used it to stab herself in the crew quarters. Mr. Clover and Temiyuji, the first question is who put the handcuffs on them? The clue is the message Clover left, 016. If you think about it though, it doesn't make sense. Clover's left hand was in the handcuffs. That means she would have had to write with her right hand on her right thigh. I feel like it would be really hard to do that, you know? What the hell are you talking about? Why not just use your left thigh? The thing is, I think she did. When she died, her legs lumped together, and the message I got transferred to the right thigh. We just never saw the original because we didn't bother to check the other leg. In other words, she wasn't trying to write 016. She was trying to write Dio. With her dying breath, she was trying to tell us the name of her killer. It's so freaking out there. Oh, they wouldn't right in their thigh from the right thigh with the right hand because it's like you can't do it physically. It's just, what are they thinking about Kay and Dio? There's a pretty good chance Dio killed Kay. Here's how I imagine it happened. Kay probably sprayed Dio's bracelet with luminol. Found the bottle on Kay's robe. He wouldn't have seen the reaction immediately, but Dio would have known what was coming. As soon as Kay turned the lights off, it would be clear that Dio had taken the old woman's bracelet. Guesses he decided to take preemptive action. We found their bodies, the lights in the rec room were on. Maybe Kay turned the switch to light off, and Dio took the opportunity to attack him. Kay was hurt pretty badly, but he didn't die right away. Probably managed to grab the spear and stab Dio. Then he died. That accounts for all 6 bodies, none of them your fault.
Sigma, I'm glad you don't think I did it, but all of your theories are just, well, theories. Like Alice committing suicide. How can you be sure? Say she was infected with Radical 6. She could have been murdered before her symptoms even began to present themselves. As for Clover and Tenmyoji, I could easily have killed them. You don't have any proof that Clover's message was mirrored like you say, or even that it was supposed to refer to Dio. Even if it did, that's not conclusive evidence of his guilt. The same goes for Kay and Dio. I could have killed them both. Why do you trust me so much? I'm a machine. I'm part of this place. How can you trust a machine? What?
That's why I trust you. Trust you because you're a robot. Your robotness is just one more reason you can't be the killer. Well, 3 more reasons.
Have you ever heard of the 3 laws of robotics?
Rule 1. A robot may not injure a human being, or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm.
A robot without the 3 laws is just a bunch of metal and plastic. Sigma.
Luna, I have to ask you. Can you tell me, well, everything you know? Your mind's an essential server. You should know everything that's happened here. With a long pause, Luna stood up and walked deeper into the garden. Followed her in silence. Eventually, we reached the bench. Luna quietly sat down, and just like last time, I lowered myself down beside her.
You were right. I didn't kill them. How should I explain? Well, actually, you got most of it right.
Doesn't matter. Tell me everything.
Well, first, yes. Dio did sneak into the facility. He used the large cargo elevator and came into the warehouse on floor A through the number 9 door. Since the game hadn't started yet, anyone could go through it.
Doesn't really sound like sneaking. Sounds more like
I
you just
guess
walked
you
in.
could say that. He did get in pretty easily, but that's because Zero Jr. lured him here.
What do you mean?
Dio wasn't a surprise. Both Zeros knew that he was going to come. In a
So
way,
they brought him here?
because his
But why?
presence was an important part of Zero's project. I can't go
What project?
into that right now. We'd be here forever. Right now, let's just focus on the murders, okay? Anyway, Dio found his way in. They made sure he didn't know that he was actually being let in. To make
So
sure
why did he come
Zero's
here?
project failed, his first step was to pretend to be one of the players. As for how he did that, you had it pretty much right. The old woman was the first one out, and he killed her under the graffiti. He put her bracelet on after he wiped the blood off it with the handkerchief. Then he wrapped the knife up and hid it between the 5th and 6th AB rooms. Counting
5th
from
and
the
6th.
left in their original placement.
In other words, the rightmost room would have been the 6th room. The one next to it
Right.
would have been the 5th.
After that, he went back into the 5th AB room where Quark was sleeping. Then he just waited for Quark to wake up.
What were you doing while that was happening? Wait, you waited for Quark to wake up? What did you do with the body in the meantime? I was under the impression you just carried Quark out and then the door closed behind him. Oh yeah, we did
I
it.
couldn't do anything. My body had been turned off. Zero Jr. had powered me down. My body wasn't activated until after Dio went into the 5th room.
Because he was in Luna's room, that's why.
I couldn't help her. All I could do was watch while she was murdered. Everything in this place is controlled by Zero Jr. I couldn't try and prevent Dio from getting in either.
Wait, if Zero Jr. controls everything, he was the one who moved the 6th room with the crane?
That's right. Zero Jr. moved the room, not me.
Then who moved the old woman?
It took me 10 minutes to get out of my AB room once I was turned back on. I ran over to check on her as soon as I did. Then I carried her back to the room I'd been in.
You knew the answer to the 3-button press puzzle and it took you 10 minutes?
Because I
Why'd
was
you do that?
ordered to.
What?
Luna, listen to me very carefully. As you already know, the final stage of the project begins in 2 hours. This will be the culmination of many years of hard work. We cannot afford failure.
Yes, I understand.
Then let's make sure. What is your mission?
Enter the nonary game as one of the participants and observe the actions of the other players. Ensure that they do what they are supposed to and guide them down the correct paths.
How many players will there be?
Myself and 7 others, ma'am. Will you be participating as well?
Yes. Our plan dictates that I must. An individual by the name of Dio will be entering this facility presently. He has been led to believe he is doing so undetected. You've been briefed on him already, correct?
Yes. He will murder the first person to leave one of the AB rooms and take their place. If a pair is the first out, he'll probably kill both of them. That's all the information I've been given on him, ma'am.
Is there a problem?
With all due respect, ma'am, I would like to state that I don't feel right about this. We know someone is going to be killed, and we're just going to let it happen? I also have doubts about the use of Radical 6. Are you sure? Infecting all these people with such a horrible disease.
That is none of your concern. Your only concern is to follow your orders.
But
Luna, I am giving you an order. I am in command, and you do as I say. You are programmed to do as I say. You know this.
yes,
Good. Now, I have one final order.
another order, ma'am?
Yes. When you leave the AB room, the person Dio has killed will still be there. I would like you to move them.
Where?
To the room you are about to enter. The 6th AB room.
But why?
Not your concern. As a participant in the game, you must have as little knowledge of it as possible. That is why I have made sure you are unable to access any classified data. There are things you must not know. In order for this project to succeed, we need you to be as close to a clean slate as possible. There are some things you already know, which ideally you would not. Unfortunately, this is unavoidable, so you must refrain from divulging anything you know about the project to the other participants. You must never tell anyone what you know about Dio, or the body, or that you carried it to the 6th AB room. You will have to pretend you know nothing more than the rest of the participants.
Is that an order?
Yes. Do I make myself clear?
Yes. After that, I went into the AB room as I'd been told to. As soon as I stepped inside, my body deactivated. But since my brain is in the main computer, I was still awake. So I still saw everything. While I waited, I used the security cameras to see what was going on in the rest of the facility.
And so the old woman being murdered.
It was hard. What I was seeing made no sense. Several of my higher level processes nearly failed. To think that she would be the first person to come out. I think she knew that Dio was going to kill her when she'd said she had one final order for me. I didn't understand what she meant. Like a fool, I told her I didn't approve, when I had no idea what she was prepared to do. When she died, whatever I have that passes for a heart felt like it snapped in two.
I think I understand. Everything you did because you've been ordered to. It was the old woman who gave you the
No.
orders? And she's Zero, sir? No? What?
She did.
Oh, she gave you
but
the orders.
She wasn't the only person I took orders from. Yes.
There's somebody else?
Yes.
The person
we
in Zero,
worked
sir?
together to develop the project she mentioned. So I suppose technically my orders came from both of them. And they were both controlling Zero Jr. too. I told you before that Zero Jr. moved the 6th AB room. Although that's strictly true, he didn't do it of his own free will. They ordered him to do it. He was following orders just like me. I don't know.
But why?
I really don't. Maybe they did it so that people wouldn't suspect me.
They didn't want people to suspect you, then why have you moved the body in there in the first place? Eventually we'd figure out the rooms have been moved, and that's why she was in your room.
Maybe they wanted the opposite. Maybe they wanted you to suspect
mean?
me.
Doesn't make sense either. They wanted people to suspect you.
You're right.
Why move the room?
Then maybe they only wanted certain people to be suspicious of me. Yes.
You mean like Alice?
Perhaps they wanted Alice to find the handkerchief and the knife. That would explain why they moved the room.
Someone knew Dio would hide the
Yes.
knife there?
I think so.
But how could they know that?
Well, whatever the reasons were, Alice did notice that the room was moved, which meant that Clover also figured it out. And just like you said, Alice used the knife to take her life. Clover didn't realize that, though. Or perhaps she didn't want to. In any event, she decided that I must have killed Alice to keep her quiet. So she confronted me. It was right after the second round of the AB game. Using Phi's timetable, that would be 0 hours, 0 minutes.
Wait, you listened to us in the security office?
Yes, that wasn't all I was listening to, though. I know everything that happened in the facility after my body collapsed.
You were
Yes, I
watching through the
was.
security
I
cameras.
could see and hear everything. Anyway, we're at 0 hours, 0 minutes. I was in the hallway on floor A when Clover found me and took me to room 2 in the crew quarters. We entered at about 0 hours, 1 minute. She was very forceful.
I know you killed Alice. Tell me the truth and I'll let you live. Now fess up! I'm only gonna give you one chance. If you lie or try to play dumb or something, I'll kill you right in front of her!
I told her the truth, of course. I explained that I hadn't killed Alice, that she'd been infected with Radical 6, and it had caused her to kill herself. Clover was never going to believe that, though. We argued about it for nearly 9 minutes. It wasn't just Alice she asked me about. She asked me about the murder of the old woman, and about the AB room being moved. She wasn't very nice about it, but I couldn't answer any of her questions. Yes.
Did I have your orders?
Then, at about 0 hours, 10 minutes, she must have run out of patience. She stuck her hand in her pocket and started moving toward me. She backed me up against the wall and pulled her hand out of her pocket. She was holding the injection gun. I tried to take it away from her. I even screamed for help. She refused to let go, of course. While we were fighting over it,
One sec. Sorry. I didn't do a cut either. It's fine. It was like, what, like 2 minutes? Well, hold on a minute. The trigger got pulled in the fight? I get that part. What I don't understand is what
You
it
mean
did. Why did anything
because
to you?
I'm a golem? One of my
Yeah.
orders was always to act like I was one of the players. A human. Any human injected with that amount of tubocurarine would die.
That's why you, died? Keep up with the facade
No.
that you were human?
I collapsed because Zero Jr. turned off the power to my body again. He probably felt he had to. Maintaining the illusion that I was human was probably in his orders too. So to make it look like I had died, he turned the power off. Whatever the case, it was an accident. I don't think Clover ever intended to actually kill me. She only took the injection gun to try and threaten me.
How could you be so sure?
When I collapsed, she looked terrified. She checked for my pulse and listened to see if I was breathing. She also shook my body and called out to me several times. If she'd meant to kill me, why do all that? After a few moments, she ran off to the infirmary to get the AED.
You mean the defibrillator? Using an electric shock to start your heart, right?
Yes.
That was why she left? 0 hours, 11 minutes, 40 seconds, Clover left the cabin in the crew quarters.
She ran off toward the infirmary. On the way, she bumped into Dio. Yes, I guess she just saw him, really.
Dio.
They didn't talk. She just ran past.
And he just watched
Yes,
her go
I
by.
imagine he was curious, of course. He probably wondered what she was doing, but he chose not to go after her. He had something else to do.
At 0 hours, 12 minutes, Dio
He
enters
seemed
the
pretty
room.
surprised to find my body. It didn't
Yeah, I
take him
bet.
long to get over it, though.
Wouldn't imagine it would. What did he do to him?
He'd gone
What did
there
he do
for
then?
2 reasons. One was to get Alice's bracelet, which was a blue solo.
Right, without the Dio and Kay, the yellow pair wouldn't be able to get through the secondary
Yeah.
door.
But he
Right?
couldn't find it.
Of course. If I had already
Yes.
taken it by then.
But there was something else he wanted to do, too. He was there to take the
The
knife.
key to...
Removing it
Oh.
was gruesome.
Right, we don't have the key in this timeline, do we? No, she does. We got it back, right? I don't remember. But why did he want the knife? Was it because he used it to
No,
kill
I
the
don't
old one?
think so.
Then what do you think?
I think he didn't want anyone to see the engraving on the knife's blade. That's why he hid it so well after he killed the old woman.
Why wouldn't he
Do you
want
remember
anyone to
what
see
it
that?
said? There was a word engraved on the blade.
Yeah, the Myrmidons.
Yes.
You know, for secret organization, they really do just register their name with a knife, huh?
It's
What
the
does
name of
Myrmidons
the
mean?
organization he belongs to.
Well, what is it,
I
like a
think
club or
so.
something? Well, what is it then?
I don't really know. I'm afraid
No
not.
idea. You're a robot, you're not a knot. What wasn't... Wait, wasn't he here to try and stop whatever
Yes.
Zero was doing? Then, wouldn't that mean he's on our
I
side?
don't know about that. He's killed 4 people. I'm not really sure he's on anyone's side.
You got a point. Darn it, this is ridiculous. Zamet? The enemy of my enemy is my friend, huh?
May I continue?
Yeah, keep going. After he took the knife, Dio rifled through what few belongings Alice had, but instead he didn't seem to be looking for anything in particular. Probably just checking to see if she had anything useful. That was where he found the key to DK's suit. Didn't seem to have any particular reason for taking it, at least as far as Luna could tell. At 0 hours 13 minutes, Dio left the room.
He heard Kay opening the cyan door and ran out. When he left, he was heading toward the infirmary. My guess is that he was going after Clover. He found her with the AED. She was probably planning to just ignore him and head back, but Dio didn't let her.
Hey, wait. Just what are you planning to do with that thing? Thinking about trying to resuscitate Luna? And why would you want to do that? You were the one who killed her, weren't you?
Clover tried to push past Dio. Luna said they
What do
began a
you
fight.
think you're doing?
Dio pulled a knife out of his pocket and put it in Clover's throat. That's when he showed up.
Dio, what the hell are you doing?
None of your goddamn business. Stay out of this, you senile old shit.
Like hell, you son of a bitch!
He let out a yell and leapt towards Dio. The younger man dodged him easily and lashed out with the knife. Tamiyoshi caught Dio's hand with a grunt, and for a moment the two men struggled. Then as the knife edged closer, he wrapped his other hand around the blade and tried to force it away. Dio was a much younger and stronger man. When Tamiyoshi killed himself with a knife didn't do him any favors. The wound, but he put up a valiant fight, but with the roar, Dio threw him off, and Tamiyoshi collapsed to the floor.
What are you going to do?
Let's see.
That's his sister, Clover. He really helped out Tamiyoshi. Give her a mean right one.
How cute. You two really look great together, you know?
What are you going to do to us?
Isn't it obvious? I'm gonna handcuff you to a sink. Actually, I already have.
Are you gonna beat us to death or something?
Ugh, no. Nothing so tasteless.
What are you going to do then?
How'd you like to make a bet?
A bet?
You've got, 20-some minutes until the primary white doors open. So I'd say you've got 25 minutes until they close. Give or take. If somebody happens to come by here before the doors close, you might live. But if nobody finds you, well...
We'll be penalized.
Exactly. So, I suggest you start screaming for help now. Unfortunately for you, just about all the rooms in this place are behind at least 2 nice thick doors. So unless they're pretty close, nobody's gonna hear you scream. Well, I'm off to the Floor B warehouse, okay? Enjoy your last 25 minutes. Later.
25 minutes passed, and of course, by then there were only 3 other people who could have come, apart from Dio.
Me,
Yes,
Fi, and Kay, right?
you were in the crew quarters at this point.
Yeah. Kay told us about you. Also noticed that the knife in Alice's chest had been removed. If only we knew what was happening in the infirmary.
Unfortunately for Clover and Tenmyoji, their time had come. Once the primary white door closed, both of their bracelets injected them with Soparil. Yes,
The anesthetic,
almost
right?
immediately they started to feel sleepy. I think that's when Clover realized she was definitely going to die. That was when she decided to leave her message. Just as you said, she wrote on her left thigh with her right hand.
Still absolute horse crap. No worse, she wrote was Dio.
As for what happened in the rec room, well, I guess I don't really need to tell you. Your theory was essentially correct. What you said was what happened.
Kay sprayed Dio's bracelet with luminol, and then while his back was turned, Dio attacked him with the axe. Dio mortally wounded him, but he didn't kill Kay, so Kay turned around and stabbed Dio with a spear. I guess that's when we found
Yes.
them.
After
Okay,
they
get
went
the
through the
luminol.
white door, Dio and Kay found themselves in the director's office. When they were done there, they headed back to floor A to look for everyone else. They went to the crew quarters first, then to the infirmary. Of course, they found Clover and Tenmyoji's bodies there. Dio expected to find them, of course, but he pretended to be shocked. Anyway, Kay checked them over for anything useful. Right.
That's when we found the luminol.
That's everything that happened. Do you have any questions?
Well, what do you think? There's a bear crap in the woods? Well, the first thing is Quark's bracelet. Why was it in the
Tenryuji had
infirmary?
it. Then when Dio attacked him, it fell out of his pocket.
But why did
I
Tenmyuji
told
have
him
Quark's
where
bracelet?
it was. Do you remember when you were
When?
in the rec room with Fi and Tenmyuji?
Yeah, when he sprayed us with liminal, right?
Right after
Sure, I remember that.
When he left the rec room, he went toward the green door to look for Quark. I ran into him at the end of the hallway, where the 3 doors and the switch are. That was when I told him. Look, Tenmyuji, the center door is unlocked. He took off through it without another word.
That was the treatment
Yes.
room, right?
Right.
Where Quark was sleeping?
It only took him a moment. As soon as he saw Quark, he ran to his pod and started crying. Yes.
Out of relief,
the
right?
display on the pod showed Quark's vital signs. It was obvious he was alive the moment you looked at it. Next to the pod was Quark's bracelet. That was how Tenmyuji got it.
Why was Quark's
I
bracelet
took
off?
it off. Aluminum foil.
How? What? You mean the
Oh,
stuff
you
in the
found
crew
it?
quarters?
Did you know that aluminum foil has electromagnetic shielding properties?
What?
Here's an exciting fact. Your heart creates a bunch of faint electrical impulses. Anyway, the point is that you can detect the electricity that your heart makes by pumping blood. Your fancy little bracelets pick up on that. They're always watching.
Wait, so you're telling me the aluminum foil can block the electromagnetic waves your heart
Yes.
sends out?
All you have to do is wrap it around your bracelet.
And then bracelet
Yes.
thinks your heart stopped? Holy crap. It was that easy all along.
Anyway, I used some aluminum foil to get Quark's bracelet off. Then I put it next to the pod.
Wait, why was Quark in the pod to
that's
begin with?
easy. I put him there. Remember
When
when
did you
we
do
were
that?
first looking for Quark? I found him unconscious near the entrance to the Golem Bay. Yes.
You carried him to the treatment pod? Were you the one who unlocked
No,
the treatment center
I
too?
was not. I do not have the authority to operate any of this facility's machinery. That's right.
So it was Zero Jr.? You reactivated your body too, right? I mean, I don't get any of this. Why the heck did you do that? I guess it wasn't really him that did it, huh? He was doing what Zero Sir and the old lady told him to do. Everything leads back to them, huh? Of course it does. So are you going
Tell
to
you
tell
what.
me? Isn't this obvious? Tell me what this project is. Everything that happens in here has something to do with it. So why
to
were
play
we
the
brought here?
nonary game.
And why were we supposed to play the nonary
That
game
was
there?
part of the project.
Why did Alice kill
Because
herself
she
with
was
that?
infected with Radical 6.
How did she get
Zero
infected?
Senior and the old woman did that. It was a necessary evil. It had to happen for the project to succeed.
What would have happened if Alice had to commit
Clover
suicide?
wouldn't have suspected me, and she wouldn't have accidentally, killed me. I wouldn't have
Then what?
collapsed, and Dio wouldn't have found my body. That would have meant the confrontation in the infirmary never took place.
In other words, you're saying Clover and Tenmyuji died for this
Yes.
project? Well, actually, it was the Terracurian that killed them. But they were only injected with it because of their bracelets. And they were only wearing those bracelets because of the Nonary game. The Nonary game was part of the project, and that's one more
I
way to kill them.
guess, if you want to look at it that way.
Now, what about Kay and Dio? Why would
Because
they kill each
Dio
other?
killed the old woman, he was worried about getting caught, so he tried to kill Kay before he could find out the truth.
And if Dio hadn't killed the old lady, what happened in the rec room? Would never have
Yes.
taken place, right? So let me ask you this.
So
Why
that
did
he
Dio
could
kill her?
pose as one of the participants. To
And why did he do that?
disrupt the project.
Then why
The
did
same
she let him
reason
kill her?
he did all of this. It was a necessary evil. The project couldn't be allowed to fail.
Six people died here, Luna. 4 of them were murdered one way or another by Dio. At first, that makes it Dio was the reason they all died, but that's not true, is it? All 6 of them, they all died for this project. That means that the murderer, or I guess I should say murderers, were the old lady and Zero Sir, right? Please, Luna, tell me. What is this project about? Who is the old woman? Who is Zero?
Sigma. Would you hug me?
What? Instead of answering, Luna wrapped her arms around me and buried her face in my chest. My own arms hovered in the air, confused about where they should go. Followed hard and tried to rein in my heartbeat, which he saw suddenly doubled. About to speak when I felt something warm on my chest. Was Luna crying?
This feels nice.
Her voice shook as she spoke. Lowered a mud hand to her head and began to gently stroke her hair. Hey, Luna. What the heck's going on?
Sorry, my ABT is usually held in place by muscle fiber, but after Clover gave me the tubocurarine...
Okay, I get it.
Does it scare you? This is what I really look like. I'm a golem. Just a machine. A jumble of metal and plastic that pretends to be real.
I wrapped my arms around Luna and hugged her as tight as I could.
Believed in me this whole time. Even though I look like...
Yeah,
like this?
of course. I trust you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I wish I could stay here forever. You feel so nice. But I think my time is up.
What?
I've done things I really shouldn't have. Do you remember what you asked me earlier? About if Zero Jr. had reactivated my body? Remember? The truth is, he didn't. I did. I went to the part of the core that controls Zero Jr. and I hacked it. Yes, that
What?
was the first thing. The second. Do you know what the second one was? If I had really wanted to, I could have saved Clover and Tenmyoji. Then Kay and Dio probably wouldn't have killed each other. That's not all. I could have stopped Alice from killing herself. And I could have even saved the old woman at the very beginning. In other words, I had the ability to disobey my orders. But I didn't. That's the second thing. I broke the first law. I was scared. I was afraid to die. Obviously, hacking the core and taking control of Zero Jr.'s systems is very, very bad. Golems who don't follow orders can become dangerous, so we're terminated if we disobey. You lose access to your body, of course, but everything that's stored in the core, your memories, your consciousness, is deleted.
What? Wait,
Yes,
are you saying?
very soon now I'll be gone. Zero Jr. is probably recovering himself right now. Once he's done, I doubt I'll be around much longer.
What? Why?
I watched 6 people die and did nothing. I deserve this.
No? No, you don't. Even if you had done something, you would have been killed anyway. You can't blame yourself. You did what you could. You're not wrong. The game is what's wrong, and forcing you to watch your friends die is what's wrong.
Oh, Sigma, thank you. I'm really glad I met you.
Luna, it's going to be okay. I'm not gonna let them do this. You're gonna be fine, I promise.
Sorry,
Please don't.
my time's up. At least I get to die in your arms. Thank
Luna?
you, Sigma, and goodbye, Doctor.
Doctor. But she couldn't answer. Squeezed my eyes shut and held her, unable to bear the thought of letting any more of her slip away. So you're telling me they had the choice to make this game 2D again? Or just like actual like concept art instead of having the 2D models that look freaking disgusting? It's an eyesore. One last quiet chime, the music box wound down. Left with hearing nothing but silence and the cold pool of tears of my heart. I think this game is like 3 times as the size of 999. Luna End? Yeah, I have to use the bathroom before we do the other ending. So I'll be right, or the other path. I'll be right back.